Hello.
Hello.
You're there. Marvellous. It's James O'Toole, that is the right name, isn't it, from the Plant-Based Treaty. So the Plant-Based Treaty is something that I think was started very, very recently. It's a worldwide campaign to put plant-based eating at the forefront of the mission to combat climate change. With me on the line is James O'Toole. Hello again.
Hello.
So tell me, what's the history of the Plant-Based Treaty?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
So the Plant-Based Treaty is modelled on the popular Fossil Fuel Treaty, which was actually endorsed by London in June of this year. And it came about out of a frustration that animal agriculture as the leading cause of climate change and a shift towards plant-based as a solution to climate change were not being discussed at a global level in relation to the climate crisis. Last month, Joe Biden called the climate crisis Code Red for Humanity, echoing the comments of the UN Secretary General after last year's IPCC report. So, I mean, it's great that world leaders are finally acknowledging the climate crisis after a few decades of warnings from scientists, but we need to address both fossil fuels and animal agriculture if we're going to achieve net zero and stave off the worst effects of climate change.
Addressing animal agriculture does seem to be a bit of a sticking point with a lot of people, I guess because it means they have to change their lifestyle. And people don't like being told that. I mean, so why plant-based? Why is that so important in the fight against climate change?
Well, because it's a leading cause. We're not going to get to net zero. We're not going to meet the Paris Accord agreement by just fossil fuels alone. Animal agriculture is responsible. I mean, the figures vary depending on what calculations used, but 32% of human-caused methane is what the United Nations Environmental Programme and Climate and Clean Air Coalition said last year. So it's a leading cause, so we need to address it in order to effectively tackle climate crisis.
So how does the Plant-Based Treaty work? You have your core principles, don't you? Relinquish, redirect, and restore. So could you explain those, please?
Yeah, that's right. It is a global treaty, and we understand that legislature is different in different regions of the world. So it's deliberately light on policy and says it has these three demands, like you say, relinquish, redirect, and restore. So relinquish is stop the problem increasing, stop the problem from getting worse. So that would mean no land use change, including deforestation for animal agriculture, no building of new animal farms or slaughterhouses or extension of existing animal agriculture facilities. Redirect would be eliminating the driving force of the problem. So a shift towards a shift from subsidies away from animal agriculture towards plant-based. We know that the kind of true cost of animal products is artificially low as a result of the subsidies, which actually disproportionately affects poorer communities as well, because the cost of kind of going to McDonald's or KFC is disproportionately way cheaper than it should be, as opposed to if you go and buy fresh fruit and vegetables, that's going to be really expensive. So we want to see a shift. So healthy products like fruit and vegetables are more affordable for people, benefiting their health as well as benefiting the climate and of course, the animals.
And so you can sign up for these treaties. You can sign up as an individual, but also you can sign up as a business, and I think you can sign up like as a whole city, can't you?
You can, yeah. And just to finish on the third R, which is
sorry.
It's interesting you mentioned the cities, because we've been having conversations up and down the country with different councils, and the third R, restore, is about reforestation, reforesting the earth. Right. And we've been really encouraged to see that a lot of cities are already doing tree planting programs, community gardens. So that's fantastic. That they're on the right path. So that's the third R, restore, reforest the earth.
And so yes, so going back to my last point, you can sign up as an individual, or you can sign up as a business, as a company, as a and as a town, as you're saying? Can you sign up like a country?
Well, I mean, the idea is to put bottom-up pressure on governments, on countries to endorse, and again, modelled on the Fossil Fuel Treaty. So that's kind of the way we're trying to do it. We've had Haywards Heath in the UK, in England, endorse. We've had Buenos Aires, which is a seaporty city, recently endorse. So 18 cities around the world have endorsed, and obviously we want to see that number even higher.
So, I mean, could this be seen as an attack on farmers, as an attack on their business? And are you maybe supporting them to do something different?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not at all. It's not an attack. We want to help farmers. We want to work with farmers, shift towards plant-based farming. There are a number of groups that already assist farmers with that transition, and we'd be happy to put farmers in touch with them. And really, it's not about attacking farmers. And in fact, obviously, the innocent victims of animal agriculture, the ones who are being attacked, are the animals who are sentient beings with feelings and emotions. They want to live. So shifting to plant-based benefits not only the planet, our health, but also the victims of animal agriculture, the animals.
Now, because I've talked about stock-free farming previously on this programme, so is that something that you would support?
Well, yeah. I mean, the beauty of the plant-based treaty is it's acknowledging that the problem and shifting away from the issues that are causing it to solutions. So we're more than happy to kind of encourage anything that's a shift in the right direction. You don't have to be vegan to sign the plant-based treaty. When cities sign or when businesses sign, there's no kind of like commitment that they have to make immediate changes tomorrow. It's about just like I said at the beginning, an acceptance that plant-based needs to be part of the conversation and addressing that frustration that isn't currently the case. And so moving in that direction.
So when you sign up, can you make your own commitment for yourself? Maybe you do meat-free Mondays, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, our website has a lot of resources that people can do, and people can do as much or as little as they want. Meat-free Mondays have actually endorsed the treaty. So Paul McCartney with Stella and Mary, that they've endorsed. And Meat-free Mondays is a great introduction for people who are not vegan, not vegetarian, and are just looking to get involved. Their website also, as well as our own, has a lot of great resources. And trying Meat-free Monday initially is a good idea for people.
This campaign seems to have grown very quickly. Is it something that's sort of grown naturally, like from the ground up?
Yeah, like we were lucky in that we copied the Fossil Fuel Treaty, so they had the great framework and infrastructure already in place of how to go about this. We've found the campaign has been really warmly received. We've had nearly 50,000 people sign up on the website, over 700 groups and businesses, like I mentioned, 18 cities around the world, in India, America, South America, and England. So it's gone really well, and we celebrate 1 year on Wednesday. And
what will you be doing to celebrate 1 year?
Well, we'll be having actions all around the world. We're very action orientated. So when we launched last year, we had actions outside city halls in various towns and cities across the world, raising awareness of these issues. And yeah, we'll continue to do that.
So if people really are interested in this and want to get involved, what should they do?
Well, they can go to our website. Like I said, there are a lot of great resources there. They can sign up, sign the treaty, just follow us on social media, share our content, and get involved. That's the main thing people can do is get involved and help us.
So would maybe starting some local groups, is that one way that you might like to kind of grow the campaign?
Definitely. We have weekly calls for new volunteers with information. So how people can get involved. We're very, very welcoming. It's a global community. We have people from all over the world who take part, and they can definitely do that. Yeah, and all the details are available on the website.
And what is your ultimate aim with the campaign?
Well, the ultimate aim is to tackle the climate crisis and shift to plant-based. It's difficult, as I'm sure you're aware. It's difficult. There are a variety of reasons why, say, we're up against the big power of big meat and dairy, the lobby, the government. We were talking earlier. People have their own biases. We've been raised from infancy to believe that consuming animal products is normal, natural, necessary, and it's difficult to accept those assumptions aren't true, but they're not true. And so policymakers are people too. So it's difficult for them to break the disconnect, especially if it means implementing policy that goes against how they're living their lives. So the more pressure that we can put, grassroots pressure on policymakers by individuals signing, by cities, companies, organizations, the easier it will be to shift to that plant-based future, which is necessary if we want to stave off the climate crisis.
And of course, politicians who ultimately are responsible for changing everything. Have you had a reaction from them to this campaign?
We have. Like I said earlier, we're in discussions with cities, councils up and down the country, and they've gone really well. I also said that a lot of the cities are already implementing community tree planting, that kind of thing. So they're aware and they're moving that direction. We've had a lot of politicians who have endorsed. We actually had a number of MPs last year put forward an early day motion to get the plant-based treaty discussed in Parliament. So we've had politicians sign the treaty from all around the world. So the support from politicians has actually been refreshingly very, very positive. I think there's a global acknowledgement now that this is something we need to do.
So what's next?
Well, what's next is we keep going. We want to, like I said, it's all about putting the pressure on governments to make change. And the way we do that is bottom-up pressure. So getting more people to sign, getting more businesses and organizations and cities. So we keep going and we try and get those numbers up and try and be part of the conversation. Like I started by saying that's what this was born out of a frustration that it's not part of the conversation. And we're going to keep going until it's a foremost priority of the conversation about climate, how we deal with the climate crisis.
So if people want to find out more, you're on all the social media platforms, I believe. Facebook, yeah, Twitter, Instagram. Yes.
Our website, or they can email us at hello@plantbasedtreaty.org, and the website is plantbasedtreaty.org.
Great. Thank you so much for talking to me. That's James O'Toole from the Plant-Based Treaty. Thank you, and best of luck with the continued campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for talking to me.